Good afternoon, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us for the second part of the Consular Connections program. The first part of this program was our panel discussion with Consul General Takeuchi, and then also with Dr. Hutchins, moderated by Dr. Azriel. And that went phenomenally, and I'm hoping that all of you joined. Right now, you have the really unique opportunity actually to listen to the Consul General speak a little bit more about what he does here in Atlanta and in the Southeast region, and also learn more about the consulate in that role. I'm going to explain a little bit about the structure today, or at least during this session, it's a little bit more informal. And then I will give the Consul General his opportunity to also speak, and we'll get into that. So right now I'm giving my brief overview. Right in about a couple minutes, the Consul General will give his overview about his role, and then actually around halfway through, we'll give each of you the opportunity to introduce yourself if you would like to. You can do that through the chat, and I can read it out, or you can actually show your video, and all we want you to do is give your name, your major, what school you go to, and then also what your level, your class level is. And so that would really help us all out. And then afterwards, we have a couple questions for the Consul General, and then you all are more than likely or more than welcome to ask any questions in the chat, in which I will ask him during that time. And then at the very end, we have about 10 minutes where you can turn on your videos, raise your hands. And then once you raise your hand, we'll give the opportunity to interact with the Consul General and perhaps maybe some of his staff members. So that's the way that today is going to work. Of course, if you have any questions, let me know, but we're going to just jump right in. And so some of you probably already know our esteemed guest because he came to the morning session, or at least the 11 o'clock session. But I'm going to take a moment to introduce him again. Today, we're so happy to have Consul General Takeuchi here to speak with all of us. He graduated from the University of Tokyo in the mid 80s, and then initially that year actually joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's had different stints and worked in many different places, including Myanmar, Germany, and Austria. And then we're so happy to have him actually here as the Consul General of Japan in Atlanta. And so he is going to start with his presentation. I'll share the slides, Consul General, and then we'll go on from there.
Good afternoon, everyone. As introduced, I'm Kazuyuki Takeuchi, and thank you for listening to very much lengthy and boring my personal story for last 35 years of my diplomatic career. I arrived in the city of Atlanta in September 2019. And 2 years since then, I have been had a quite exciting but closed by COVID life, and but still, I'm quite happy to be here in the state of Georgia. Actually, this is my first United States in my diplomatic career. And I'm so happy that the first city of my residence in the United States be Atlanta. Well, let's get to third page. Today, I've been asked to speak about our job in Consulate General and what is our jurisdiction. Next page, please. You can see from the name of Consulate General, consular service would be the most familiar and the fundamental function we provide. At the consular office, we issue official documents for Japanese citizens such as passport and certificates, as well as maintaining Japanese family registries. We also offer support for Japanese travelers. In addition, we issue visas for non-Japanese citizens who wish to visit Japan. Another essential responsibility of consulate is to assist Japanese nationals in emergencies. And we also provide support for relocated Japanese citizens, such as coordinating overseas voting in Japanese elections, or providing Japanese language textbooks for families with school-aged children. Actually, this is quite behind the stage activities for our Consulate General Office, but still it's quite important task for us. And we can say that Consulate General Office exists because of this function. Next, please. Next, Japanese cultural affair and public media relations. This is another central mission of the consulate. Provide information about Japan and let people help people know about Japan and Japanese culture. We use event presentations, publications, and social networking to show Japanese traditions and highlight the latest cultural trends from Japan. The consulate also has a program for lending cultural goods and items for free. This is the function for local people to actually touch upon Japan and know more about Japan in depth. And next, a collaboration with the local community through other platforms like Japanese festivals and sister city programs. This as well is quite a central part of our activity, because visibility of Japan in local community increased by these activities. And finally, a media team shares the consulate's effort and activity in a region, using our press contacts, website, and social media account to increase public interest in Japan. It is quite critical for us to have local people to know about Japan in right form, and correct information must be prevailing to help people have a exact image of Japan. And true image of Japan is in any sense the basis for our activities to let the visibility of Japan to increase. Next page, please. We have also economic affairs section to get exact data image of local economy and help Japanese business here to operate smoothly. Actually, I remember the 600 companies, Japanese companies are operating in the state of Georgia. And more than 1,000 in 4 states under the responsibility of the Consulate General of Japan in Atlanta. It's aside from Georgia, it's Alabama, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And the Consulate Economic Affairs team focuses on local economy and maintaining good connection between business, government, and other organizations. Our office also supports Japanese business to establish a relationship with local community And actually, I've been quite happy and surprised and happy that our Japanese origin companies have quite a good relationship with local community in each of our 4 states. And actually, many people, local people, consider Japanese business as American business. That is quite a amazing thing because I have never been to the United States beforehand, and in other part of the countries of my mission. Not a great deal of connection with local community could be found. And Japanese basis for operation for Japanese companies has been quite fragile. And I'm quite happy to see that a strong connection between the Japanese business and the local community exists here. And we also provide assistance with custom inquiry and other questions related to trade and travel to Japan. And next, please. It might be a bit difficult to see what the educational support means, but it's a special support for learning. We provide educational support for learning for those who are interested in learning, teaching, and research in Japan through various programs. It might be overseas going to Japanese schools or universities, colleges, or work as a language teacher or other subject, and on the else. And namely, we have the JET program called JET program. This JET program is an employment opportunity for young professionals to live and work in Japan as assistant language teachers or coordinators for international relations. We consider this as offering precious opportunities to know Japan as well, and help people know about Japan is, as I said, a crucial role for Office of Consulate General. Next, please. Today I'm concentrating on the state of Georgia. Of course, we have separate stories with other 3 states, but today I'm concentrating on the state of Georgia. The Georgia-Japan relationship goes back to nearly 50 years. In 1973, state of Georgia opened its trade and tourism office in Tokyo, and next year we established the Consulate General office in Atlanta. At that time, we took care of 6 states instead of 3. So our relationship in government base goes back to nearly a half a century. In 1991, then Prime Minister Toshiki Kaifu visited Atlanta, and in June 1994, then Emperor and Empress of Japan visited Atlanta, and they prompted us a great deal to strengthen the ties between Japan and the state of Georgia. On February 2018, the Georgia House of Representatives and Georgia State Senate respectively passed a resolution recognizing the 45th anniversary of the office of the state of Georgia in Japan and the long and steady friendship between Georgia and Japan. Next year, on February 26, House of Representatives and State Senate also respectively passed a resolution recognizing the 45th anniversary of the Consulate General of Japan in the Southeast. and a long and steady friendship between Georgia and Japan. And now it is 2021. So we are approaching 50th anniversary for state office in Tokyo. I'm quite looking forward to having a big celebration for the half a century relationship at that time. Next, please. These are the list of Japanese affiliated companies in Georgia. I'm quite sure that many of them you are quite familiar with. And actually, many of them are manufacturing companies. There are many concentration in United States of the Japanese business, like California or Texas. But in California, the target will be IT companies, IT business, or in Texas, focus would be on energy-related business. Also, we have a big concentration in New York, but many headquarters up there. So actual manufacturing operation is has a big concentration in the Southeast. And many of them, the names here, listed here, comes from manufacturing industry. And I'm happy to say that they create lots of employment in 4 states, namely in state of Georgia. Next, please. This is in turn a Georgian company in Japan. We cannot make an exhaustive list because huge number of companies exist in state of Georgia, and we cannot follow every activity of every companies in here. But as far as we can easily find, at least 42 big name Georgia companies have operation in Japan, including but not limited to IFC, Aflac, Arcom, Delta, Halyard, NCR, Newell, Coca-Cola, UPS, and the like. And we will be quite happy to see that more companies are to come. Next, please. This is our sister city relationship between Japan and Georgia. We have state of Georgia itself has a sister state relationship with prefecture of Kagoshima. It exists here, very southern part, and the relationship between the south and southeast. And we have 10 other sister city relationship, including Atlanta and city of Fukuoka. It's also stays here in Kyushu. And definitely the sister city relationship is one of the prominent part of the measuring the depth of relationship between the two regions. And we will be happy to see if more endeavor to make up a sister relationship to come. And we are looking forward to helping it in any sense of it. And that is all, I think, from us. Actually, a business of Consulate General Office is quite a variety. There's plenty of variation, and it is quite difficult to understand because I don't understand either. And different from embassy, which exists in the city of Washington. We do not represent Japan in official terms and do not have any authority to negotiate something. But still, we are working as a flag of Japan here in the state of Georgia. So my job as a consul general is to symbolize the office, and it might be all right if you take me as a simple Japanese flag up there. And the rest of the work, my staff will collectively cope with. So please do not hesitate that if you have any issues regarding the relationship between the state of Georgia and the state of Southeast and Japan. Our staff will have more than happy to hear from you. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much, Consul General Takeuchi. That was wonderful. And I really like how you ended it by saying that, you know, you guys are symbolizing Japan. You know, of course, sometimes you don't have actual negotiations, but you are really important in keeping the relationships within Japan and America strong. And so really appreciate your presentation. And now is the opportunity for you all students to introduce yourself. As I said before, your name, your major, the university you go to, and what your class level is. That would be wonderful. So take the opportunity to either write in the chat, or you can actually take your video off so the Consul General can see you face to face, and you can introduce yourself as well that way. So either one, but definitely would like for all of you to introduce yourself either through the chat and I can read it off, or feel free to take off your video and raise your hand, and I will call on you to introduce yourself. Awesome. So I see Omar, you rose your hand. So you're the first one. So please, you can take your video off or on, at least you can turn your video on, and you can introduce yourself to the Consul General.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
I can't do video right now. I don't think I don't look that good for videos. I'll just keep it to voice, but
That's
my
fine.
name is Omar Mustafa, and hello, Consulate General Takeuchi.
Hello.
I am 21 years old. I am a game design development major, and I'm currently, I think, in my junior year.
Wonderful. And you go to Kennesaw State University?
Yeah. Yes, I go to Kennesaw State University.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Omar, for introducing yourself. Feel free
Thank
to
you very
ask
much.
any questions in the chat, and we'll make sure we ask that later on. So thank you so
Okay.
much for being the first one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. You can lower your hand, and I think I see Taikuto. You can now speak with the Consul General.
Sorry, I don't know how to switch camera inside camera.
That's okay. Continue.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it off, I guess. I'm gonna figure it out later. But konnichiwa, Takeuchi-san. I am
Konnichiwa.
from Japan. I am actually from Kumamoto, and I saw some places in Georgia, like which were sister cities between Kumamoto and Aso, and I was very surprised to know that. But yeah, I am a student at KSU, and I am studying accounting here, and hopefully I can help Georgia, not just Georgia, but like America and Japan connect stronger later, like after I graduate or something. So it was great to hear talk from you, and like nice to meet you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we saw that you asked a really great question during the panel earlier today. So we really thank you for your engagement in the first session and also this session as well. And then Josh, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, hi. My name is Josh Tienko. I am studying software engineering at KSU. I actually had an opportunity to study abroad through KSU, and I was living in Hachoji for about 5.5 months, and so yeah, that was a very nice experience. I pretty much I loved my time there. It was very nice, and it was nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you.
Consul General Takeuchi. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Josh, for introducing yourself and turning on your video. We love seeing your face. I also see that Gurpreet Singh, I hope I'm saying that correct. He said, hello, everyone. He is a junior majoring in accounting and he goes to Kennesaw State University. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. Of course, you all can either continue to raise your hands and we'll call on you, or you can introduce yourself in the chat and I will read it out. But Elizabeth, I see you've raised your hand, so feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Arellano. I'm an English major at KSU. I'm currently a sophomore. And Consul General Takeuchi, it's really nice to meet you, as well as Miss Lola.
It's very nice to meet you.
So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Pleasure meeting you too. And Cameron said, thank you, Consul General, for speaking today. He's a freshman here at KSU studying in animation. And he wanted to thank you for answering his question about writing earlier in the panel discussion. It really gave him some great insight and approach to his storytelling. So thank you, Consul General Takeuchi. They're loving your presentations. And then we also have Charity Morris. She says, hello, Consul General Takeuchi. Her name is Charity Morris, and she's a student here at Kennesaw State University majoring in computer engineering. And it was really great to hear everything you have to say earlier. And she loves that she has the opportunity to actually meet you. Awesome. And we have Devin Jacobs. And Devin Jacobs is also a junior here at Kennesaw State University majoring in economics. So thank you so much to everyone. We really appreciate you all that actually were brave enough to put on your video, or at least for the Consul General to hear your voice or see your face. And if you also want me to introduce you through the chat, I can do that, continue to let them in. But at this moment in time, we're actually going to ask the Consul General some questions. And then, like I said, maybe around 15-minute or 10-minute mark at the end, you all will be free to turn on your videos or actually turn on your microphones. And of course, continue to raise your hand, but you can actually ask the Consul General any questions at that point. But I did want to first start off by a lot of students here, they want to travel to Japan, Consul General Takeuchi, and maybe even teach English while in Japan. Are there any opportunities for that? I know you mentioned the JET program, but can you maybe elaborate a little bit about those opportunities?
Yeah, thank you very much. And actually, I've been quite impressed that most of students are at their junior, and perhaps they are the age of my grandson or something like that. And it's quite impressive to talk to young people like that. And you mentioned about JET program. It is, as I said, a program to assist young American students or young people to go to Japan, and there he works as an English teacher or operator for international relationship in local authorities mainly. And this includes introduction of the workplace and the coordination of dispatching various students or young people to each local authorities, and also extend support or consulting during their activities. And moreover, the program expects to have more and more JET alumni who understand and likes Japan as a country. And perhaps it is quite a generous program in going abroad and stay and have their own time. And our only hope is that they can become a future supporter for Japan. And the program intends to support for that purpose in any sense.
Awesome. Well, I think there's a lot of supporters of Japan in this chat and then also in this session earlier today. So thank you so much for answering that one. I also have a question for you that we received actually prior to the event. And for someone who's interested in working in Japan, what advice would you give them?
It depends in which industry you want to be involved. And of course, before anything, currently because of COVID, our border measures has been strictly applied, and virtually no visa has been issued for non-Japanese citizens, except the case of a true emergency. But aside from that, working in Japan is actually much easier than before, because many Japanese business and the Japanese local authorities are now quite eager to take up international perspective, and they expect as a driving force their business or their local community to the next stage of existence. So it's going to be simply fixed companies to work and apply visa and then get. The question is where to work. And it is actually quite difficult for anyone to go to Japan before having certain prospect of employment in Japan. So going to Japan and then looking for a business job is virtually impossible. So you can get a good connection with your local Japanese business and get good knowledge about working in Japan. And perhaps some of them can have a good connection to the employment back in Japan. So in any case, having good connection with local Japanese business might be a good idea for you to get.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I didn't know that in terms of it being maybe almost impossible, you know, and having those connections earlier on would help. And I think Josh had a question that kind of related to that. The question I actually just asked, he asked previously to joining the event when he registered, but he also wanted to elaborate and said he's feeling a little bit apprehensive. You know, he studied different working cultures and environments in Japan and really has interest in working in Japan. But, you know, maybe he's thinking of maybe approaching different companies or, you know, different organizations that do business here in Georgia, but then also they can maybe potentially travel to Japan. Would you recommend that? And what's some ways to approach?
And another thing is that you can go to Japan as a student. A student visa would be a different thing.
Yeah.
During your studies, you can have a good, reasonable connection with the Japanese business or local companies. So if you get the concrete prospect from them to be employed by them, it might be another story. So that would be another way of working in Japan, I think.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that you mentioned earlier in your presentation about sister programs or sister cities. We had a question from Omar. Can you elaborate on that? What is a sister program or city?
Yeah, sister program city stands for the relation between the two cities that make collaboration in scaling up the visibility mutually. And it's being established because both sides have a prospect from the other to help increase their own visibility in America and American cities in Japan. And other factor would be help people in each cities to have a global mind, and for Japanese citizens to have a view on great country of the United States, and American citizens to have a mind to look at the country of Japan. And the actual activity will not be confined very much. And I have to say that the sister city is rather a symbol of their will to make a cooperation in scaling up their respective local community to an international perspective.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
not
you.
quite confident that I could explain well, but if you are interested in a sister city relationship itself, please get a contact with our cultural and PR section.
No, and I think you answered it perfectly. I also wanted to know the clarification on the city relationships between here and Japan. And I think you explained it pretty well. But if anyone has additional questions, you can email me and I can put you in contact with some of your members of your team. We also are going to maybe shift back. We had so many people here that went to the panel discussion earlier, so they have some follow-up questions from that. We have one question that says regarding workplace. Is it uncommon to find U.S. citizens working in Japan, and especially within the animation companies?
Working in Japan has a certain problem, certain issues, as I explained before. And especially as for our anime industry, it might be quite big obstacle to overcome, is that virtually no anime company have any contact place in Japan. Perhaps you have to be very brave to directly contact to many, some of Japanese anime companies exist in Japan. But then another issue turns out that many of anime companies, I have to say, they are quite with domestic mind. And many of the staffs do not understand the English language very well, or they do not willing to understand, because they are quite living in a quite domestic world. Japanese anime for Japanese people. And many of them have not had a global perspective in making up anime. So you have to be brave enough to get in direct contact to anime companies in Japan in your own language, and look for a right person who can get your request seriously. It's gonna be some depends on some luck, I have to say.
No, thank you so much for that clarification and also kind of explaining how sometimes there's that domestic view, but to kind of move forward from that, anime, even though it's coming, a lot from Japan and, they have that domestic view, it's really taken the world by storm. And when we say by storm, the growth has just grown exponentially. We can see now shows and merchandise. I've watched anime on Netflix, there's Crunchyroll, and here in Atlanta, there's conventions just on, anime, and people, do cosplay and different things around anime characters. And so would you say that anime as a whole, the industry, is having an impact on social norms, whether it be in Japan or really around the world?
What should I answer for it?
Would you say that anime is impacting social norms, maybe with, the way people look at Japan, the culture, the way they dress, how they think about certain things? Do you think it has an impact on their mindset?
I think Japanese anime represents current image of Japan quite well. And actually, especially it applies to younger people. It might be quite strange, but I explained that a certain small number of people support Japanese anime in the morning. And they are the people who can afford to, so there are over 20 or 30s, 20s or 30s, even 50s like me. But most of main characters in Japanese anime produced for TV broadcasting is in their teens. So it might be some skewed image of younger people. Image of younger people, younger generation, which can be acceptable for over 20 or 30s. But in any way, they are quite focused on ordinary Japanese life and ordinary Japanese picture. So it's quite useful for look into Japanese anime to understand what is current Japan. And in that sense, you can have an impact on imaging Japan. But I'm not quite sure if it affects social norms or something. I don't think it doesn't go so far.
Good, thank you. And I think you clarified, it does do a good depiction of, the culture, and for, those who are interested in Japan, it gives them that glimpse as to, how Japan is, from their TV screens or from their computer. So thank you so much for answering that. And we have another student who asked a question about the JET program. Elizabeth said if she's looking to join, you started to talk about this earlier on, but teaching in Japan and that Japan program, how would she find those connections early on as, as she is a student now?
Yeah, as for JET program, just you should simply contact our cultural and PR section for its procedure. Where you work and what you do will our problem to coordinate. So please do not afraid to contact our relevant section and ask JET program in detail. They will be happy to explain everything, and more than everything, perhaps.
Wonderful, thank you. And look, Elizabeth, you have a direct email, so definitely make sure you follow up on that and don't take that for granted. Wonderful. And,
and one of my colleagues is on the scene as well, so perhaps she is listening to the conversation right now. Absolutely. So she knows everything.
Absolutely. So she already knows that maybe during the networking session, Elizabeth, or any of the students, we'll have that in just a couple of minutes. You can turn on your video again or your microphones and have the opportunity to speak a little bit more with Consul General Takeuchi, and maybe even some of his staff if they can answer some questions as well. But we do have this is one that was given to us even before the event. But if you're someone who's interested in learning Japanese, what are some tips for learning, or maybe if there's areas within the Atlanta Metro where they can learn, what are your tips for that?
Is it possible to turn the mic on to my colleague Ayako Yasuda?
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
perhaps she can explain and have a better information than I.
Of course, if she can join. And Consul Yasuda, sorry to put you on the spot, but if you can answer this question, that would be wonderful. I wonder if she's still in. She might have.
I think she had to take a call, actually, so she's not in, but if you have, I can put an email down here if there's any like additional questions that we can respond to a little bit later.
Okay, no problem. That works as well.
Okay. Actually, she's my master and I'm a puppet for her.
Well, no, you guys, both of you, Consul General and Consul Yasuda, have been absolutely phenomenal. So definitely.
Ayako Yasuda would be more than happy to talk to you and provide more than enough information with you.
Wonderful. And we also have Justin here. Actually said, sorry for the late introduction, Consul General Takeuchi.
Yeah.
He did want to introduce himself. He's a communications major in media and entertainment here at Kennesaw State University, an aspiring screenwriter learning production skills. And so he's found your advice pertaining content creators very enlightening and insightful. So thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we had a question earlier. Are there any jobs that are available at the consulate for US citizens? And what does a typical day look like in the consulate?
Of course, we got help from local people for conducting a job, and actually we are with nearly 20 staff, local staff in our office, and some goes out and some comes in. So from time to time, we need new staff to work with us. But at the same time, it's not on a fixed date. When all the staff goes out, but we recruit new staff. So all I can say is be careful and be very keen on collective information if you having a will to work in the Consulate General. We have perhaps a job in economic section and cultural and PR section, and virtually a consular section. But the consular section is quite a professional job, and many of them are with a Japanese origin, because they have to communicate with Japanese citizens as well here in Georgia as well. So perhaps economic section works or cultural and information works might be a good place to hunt.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then he's telling you all to be on the lookout for any opportunities that might come your way. I think I'm going to end with this. I see that there's some other questions in the chat, but we're going to actually end with this last question from earlier, and then give you all the opportunity to actually network with the Consul General and his staff. But one question is, what are just some skills to have that will allow individuals to connect more strongly with Japan as an American citizen?
Great question, and it's quite difficult to answer. And detailed analysis would be, it depends the post and the jobs you're looking for. But one thing you have to be is be a supporter for Japan, and be prepared to part of Japanese culture and Japanese business culture in working in a Japanese company in Japan. Even in here in the United States, many of Japanese companies have their own, to some extent, Japanese culture within their companies. In employee relationship or training of new staffs. So please do not take new thing as peculiar, but please accept Japanese culture exists in each Japanese business. And then perhaps a good turnout starts to come up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Being a supporter of Japan. And I think that, you know, just hearing you speak today in the earlier panel discussion and also really interacting today really is, if not made, but has continued to, you know, foster a lot of people's love for Japan and the country and the culture.
That's
so
great to hear that.
Well, we appreciate you. So now this is the opportunity for you all to actually just network and just speak. It may not be a question, but it may even be a comment. We have the really awesome, unique opportunity to actually converse with the Consul General. So you can raise your hand and turn off your video or turn on your video, your microphone, if you want to make any comments or just network with the Consul General. But please raise your hand and I will get to you. So Elizabeth, I see you were the first one. Wonderful. So they're so excited to speak with you, Consul General. So please, Elizabeth, you can take off your video and you can, or your microphone and speak.
Hi, I actually, if it's all right, I have two questions for the Consul General. My first question is, would you recommend learning Japanese before arriving to Japan? And my second question is, aside from the big known cities like Tokyo and Osaka and all the big touristic places, is there any place that you would recommend us to visit?
Yes, for the first question, my answer will be yes. As far as you stay in big cities like Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka, perhaps a lot of help you can get. When you're in trouble. But if you visit smaller cities, perhaps you'll be in small trouble when you get lost or something like that. And please note that not many people have education in English for a long time, but they have not been trained to speak and listen. So they can understand the English in writing, but they are not prepared to understand English conversation on a live term. And that goes to the second question. I would recommend northern part of Japan, Tohoku area, as a very much good combination of people's life and great nature, and you would like that when you're going to the very deep forest or big small onsen hot spring area. But you have to be prepared that the people do not understand you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be the question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for starting us off with wonderful questions. Now I'm interested in learning more about the northern part of Japan as well. Takutu, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Please go on and speak. I think your microphone still may be muted.
Okay, I tried to switch the camera. Oh, it is weird, but sorry for the mess. But
We can see you.
I actually have class at 2, so I have to go soon. But thanks for the talk. Like, it was great to meet you today. And is there any way to directly contact you, like later, like email or something? If I can have some contact info, that would be great.
Yes, of course, you can send a direct email to our Consulate General. And I'm not prepared to disclose my personal mail address because doing that every time perhaps would diminish my time to check it. So if you have anything to me, first of all, you should contact by using Consulate General representative email and make it clear that you're interested in get contact with me or other related sections.
Okay, thank you so much. I have to go, sorry. But it was great to meet you today. Thank you so much.
Great to meet you.
Yes, thank you so much. Great question, bold question. I think a lot of consul generals don't give out their personal email. Even me personally, I can converse with a lot of consulate generals' offices, and I don't have a lot of the actual emails. I speak to a lot of their staff members. But a staff member that has been really helpful throughout this has been Chandler Myers. She works at the Consul General with Consul General Takeuchi, and she's also added 2 different emails, one for the JEPA, then one more so for general questions. So feel free to use that email to reach out to them, and I'm pretty sure that they'll get back to you in a timely fashion. So we are almost done. Abina can't put their camera on or microphone because the background is noisy, but he or she did want to say that what's the best way to network and just get to know people of Japan as a foreigner?
Knowing people in Japan, people of Japan is not quite easy when you are staying here in Atlanta or state of Georgia. So perhaps the best way would be normally we have events like a Japan Fest every year. So and attract many local people as well as Japanese citizens living here. So but, making use of that sort of event would be one of the easiest way. But the problem is that due to the COVID situation, it had been canceled for last 2 years in consecutive. And perhaps we will be trying to our best to make it like next year. But at the same time, other cities sometimes have a small event related to Japan. And our office hold event as well in various cities. So please ask our culture and the information section if there's any events of interest to you in the next in near future, and that gives you a cue to the network of Japanese people, and although it doesn't directly give you a cue.
Oh, thank you. No, I think that's wonderful. The key there is, whether it's Japan Fest in 2022 or just events, that are being thrown, just keep an eye out for that. And that's the way to really engage with Japanese people and learn more about their culture. So thank you so much. We're seeing thank yous as well. It's been a wonderful day, a great panel discussion in the morning, and then now the opportunity for students to really engage with you. It's also been my pleasure to speak with you as well and learn more about anime and also more about the Consul General of Japan. So I thank you so much. We will be sending an email out to everyone with links to our future event. And then also we'll be recording this, so we plan on putting it on our website. But if you want to learn more about the Consul General of Japan, they have a website and they update it, I saw frequently. So, keep an eye onto that. And we want to just say thank you so much, Consul General Takeuchi.
Yeah, thank you very much from me as well. And it has been great to mix up with young people like today's guest. And I would be extremely happy if I did enough.
Oh, you did more than enough, Consul General. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much and goodbye. See you all.
See everyone later.